Who else loves the library? Hello, book friends. I'm Jen, and welcome to my reading life. Today, I'm going to take you along with me while I go and check out some books from my favorite local library. So let's go. I am here at my local library, and I have had a lot of requests from all of you to do some bookstore and library tours. So today we're going to go to the library. I have some holds to check out, and I'm just going to do a little bit of browsing. And I thought I'd show you a little bit of what the scenery around my local library is like. We have a lovely county library system here, and this is the library I like to go to. It's near to my son's school, and the grounds and the actual library itself are really beautiful. And then before I leave, I may pop into the Friends of the Library bookstore and see if they have anything good. I've got a few dollars in my purse, and we'll see if we find anything today. So let's go to the library. Well, today might not have been the best day to go to the library because their air conditioning is broken and they have huge fans throughout the whole library. And it was a little noisy and it was hard to get to some of the shelves, but I did manage to get quite a few books. I checked out some books for myself and I also checked out some books for my son. And I also found a few books in the Friends of the Library bookstore, which was lovely. So I'm gonna head home because I am so hot now. I need to cool down and then I will hop back on and show you everything that I got. Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed going along with me to check out some books at my library and also take a look around the library bookstore, which I really enjoy doing every time I go to the library, if I have time. Today I checked out quite a number of books, which I'm going to share with you, and then I also found a few books at the library bookstore and I will share those with you as well. Let us just dive right into what I got. So the first book that I checked out was one that I had placed a hold on because one of the spaces on the summer book bingo board is sci-fi or fantasy. And I had a few fantasy middle grade books that I could certainly read off of my shelf, and now I can't remember who I heard talking about this book, but somebody on BookTube mentioned this book not too long ago, and it's one I've been wanting to read, and it is a sci-fi book, and that is To Say Nothing of the Dog by Connie Willis. And in this, we follow Ned Henry. He is badly in need of a rest. He's been shuttling between the 21st century and the 1940s, searching for a Victorian atrocity called the Bishop's Bird Stump. It's part of a project to restore the famed Coventry Cathedral, destroyed in a Nazi air raid over 100 years earlier. But then Verity Kindle, a fellow time traveler, inadvertently brings back something from the past. Now Ned must jump back to the Victorian era to help Verity put things right, not only to save the project, but to prevent altering history itself. So a little bit of a time travel. This is a very famous novel, and we'll see. If I'm going to get it on my summer book bingo board, I have to get to it by the end of August. It's not that short. It's almost 500 pages. This will qualify for Big Book Summer, one last Big Book Summer book if I get this one in. But I have some other books I need to prioritize, so we'll see if I get to this one before the end of August. But I could always read it into September and just not have it count on my bingo board. So we will see. And then the next book I checked out is the second book in the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter. This is The Tale of Holly Howe. These are by Susan Wittig Albert, and I read the first book in the series. What is it called? Totally blanking. The Tale of Hilltop Farm. Yes, of course, which I really, really enjoyed when I read it earlier this year. And I've been wanting to read more in the series, and they happen to have this one, which is the second book, on the shelf at the library. So it was my lucky day. And then August is Women in Translation Month, and I've been thinking I would like to read at least one thing for Women in Translation Month. And I have one book on my shelf that I'm hoping to get to, but then I saw this one at the library and thought I would give it a try. And this is The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura. And this, it just says, almost every afternoon, the woman in the purple skirt sits on the same park bench where she eats a cream bun while the local children make a game of trying to get her attention. Unbeknownst to her, she is being watched by the woman in the yellow cardigan, who is always perched just out of sight, monitoring which buses she takes, what she eats, whom she speaks to. The woman in the yellow cardigan lures the woman in the purple skirt to a job as a housekeeper at a hotel where she too is a housekeeper. Soon the woman in the purple skirt is having an affair with the boss and all eyes are on her. But no one knows or cares about the woman in the yellow cardigan. That's the difference between her and the woman in the purple skirt. It's Japanese. It is translated, written by a woman and translated by a woman. Yes, so qualifies. We'll see if I get to it, but I'm kind of intrigued and I really like this cover. It's really kind of interesting. So we'll see. Has anyone read that one? Can you tell me anything about it? The next book is one I just picked up on a whim because I recognized the author's name and this sounded really kind of interesting and I love the cover. This is England, England by Julian Barnes. That cover is just so fun. And this is Imagine in England, where all the pubs are quaint, where the Windsors behave themselves mostly, where the cliffs of Dover are actually white, and where Robin Hood with his merry men really are merry. This is precisely what visionary tycoon Sir Jack Pittman seeks to accomplish on the Isle of Wight, a destination where tourists can find replicas of Big Ben, half size, Princess Di's grave, and even Herod's, conveniently located inside the Tower of London. Martha Cochrane, hired as one of Sir Jack's resident no people, ably assists him in realizing his dream. But when this land of make-believe gradually gets horribly and hilariously out of hand, Martha develops her own vision of the perfect England. Julian Barnes delights us with a novel that is at once a philosophical inquiry, a burst of mischief, and a moving elegy about authenticity and nationality. So, I don't know, sounds kind of intriguing, and yes, so give this one a try. And then this next book is a recommendation from one of you, and this was another of the books that I had on hold and needed to pick up, and that is Letters from Skye by Jessica Brockmole. And this was recommended to me by Eileen. She is one of my subscribers, and she always leaves the loveliest comments, and she mentioned this book, thought I might enjoy it. It is epistolary, which you know, I love a good epistolary novel, and it looks like it's going between 1912 and 1940, and yeah, it takes place in Scotland, and then it looks like maybe also in England as well. I'm not sure, but I'm here for an epistolary novel from Scotland, so we'll see how I like this. Is this writer Scottish? I don't even know. Oh, she spent several years living in Scotland. So it sounds like maybe she's American. Okay, interesting. So yes, I am very curious to read this one. So thank you, Eileen, for the recommendation. The next book is the first in a mystery series, and I've been wanting to give this mystery series a try, but every time I go to the library and see it and kind of have my memory jogged that I want to read it, they never have the first book in the library. But today they did, so very excited. This book is The Body on the Train by Frances Brodie. This is a Kate Shackleton mystery, and I think these take place, yes, this starts in London, 1929, and Kate Shackleton is a sleuth, and in this one it says, in the darkness before dawn, a railway porter unloading a special train from Yorkshire discovers a man's body shot and placed in a sack. There are no means of identification to be found, and as Scotland Yard hits a dead end, they call in the inimitable Kate Shackleton, confident her local knowledge and investigative skills will produce results, but it's no easy task. Yes, so it sounds like it takes place in Yorkshire in the 20s, 30s, so sort of, I think it's maybe got, hey, gosh, sorry, the glare on these library books is really terrible. There we go. There we go. So I think got a bit of a like classic British mystery feel to it, I'm hoping. Has anyone read the Kate Shackleton mystery series? There's quite a few books in the series, I believe. Yeah, there's like 10 listed here. So anyway, I'm hoping I like this, and then I'll have a new mystery series that I can enjoy. And then the last book was another book I just picked up on a whim. I was looking in the sort of middle grade section for books for my son, and I saw this one sitting there, and I've heard other booktubers and bookstagrammers talk about this book, and because I am still thinking about doing a Jane Austen in January read along kind of a thing. I'm not exactly sure what the parameters are going to be for the read along. I thought it might behoove me to maybe pick up a few Jane Austen retellings or reimaginings to kind of see if I can figure out exactly what I want to do for January. And so this one, because it is nice and short and will be a quick little read, I decided to pick up, and that is Lizzie Bennet's Diary. This is by Marsha Williams, inspired by Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, and it's really lovely. It's got all kinds of like little things you can open, little letters and things to read, which I just thought was really fun. I love books like that. So I am excited to dip into this one. And yes, Also, mentioning Jane Austen in January, if you are interested in participating in that, could you leave a comment on this video and let me know? I'm just trying to get a feel for how many people are actually interested in doing it. If there seems to still be enough interest, I'm going to go forward with that. And then I will probably put out a poll on which book everyone would like to read in January of Jane Austen's, and we will go with the majority, I believe. That's my plan anyway. I am still trying to figure it out. So thank you very much for leaving your input on that in the comments. So those are all of the books that I checked out today from the library. And the next few books were ones that I found in the library bookstore. I found 5 books today. So I spent $4 because adult books are $1 and kids books are 50 cents. So I got 2 books for $1. And then one of the books I think might have been accidentally shelved in the adult section, but I think it's a children's book. It is a children's book. But I paid $1 for it, and that's okay because all the money goes to the library or the Friends of the Library, and that is a lovely place to make a donation to, so I'm okay with it. Anyway, so let's do the middle grade books first. I decided to pick up 2 Newbery winners because I want to read through all the Newberys, and I actually read both of these when I was a kid. Actually, one of them I think I also read as an adult, but I just kind of wanted to have them on my shelves because I am sort of collecting the Newberys so I can read them, enjoy them, and see what I think of all of them, kind of in comparison to one another, since I'm going to try to maybe read them over the course of the next year or 2. There's a lot of Newberys. They've been doing the Newbery Medal for a long time. But the first book I got was Bridge to Terabithia by Katherine Paterson, and I really loved this book. Actually, it was funny because when my teacher read this to us in school, she did this as a read aloud, I believe in, I can't remember if it was 3rd or 4th grade, but I missed a bunch of it because I was out sick. I had a really bad case of bronchitis and I missed a whole chunk of reading the book. So then I ended up reading it myself because I was enjoying it so much. And then I read it again as an adult, loved it just as much then. Gotta get the tissues out for this one though. And the other Newbery book that I picked up is also by Katherine Paterson, and that is Jacob Have I Loved. And I read this as a tween, I think. I think I was like around 11 or 12 when I read this book, and I remember just loving it at the time. And I didn't notice though that the corner of the cover is torn. That's kind of annoying, but oh well, for 50 cents, that's all right. So I'm looking forward to reading this one again. So this is about 2 twin sisters and the differences between them. One is sort of the pretty, talented one, and the other one kind of lives in her shadows and wants to break out from that. And it's just, you know, a little bit about how that all comes about. So I really enjoyed that one. Don't remember that much about it. I just remember loving it. And then the third middle grade book that I picked up is one I've wanted to read for a long time, and that is Wolf Hollow by Lauren Wolk. And this is about Annabelle. She's lived a mostly quiet life in her rural Pennsylvania town, and then one autumn day in 1943, Betty Glengarry arrives. Betty quickly reveals herself to be cruel and manipulative. And while her bullying at first seems isolated, things quickly spin out of control, escalating until Betty mysteriously disappears. As they look for her, fingers begin to point towards Toby, a World War I veteran. While others see his strangeness, Annabelle sees only kindness and soon must find the courage to stand as a lone voice of justice as tensions mount. So yes, that sounds really good. And this is another one I hope, actually all 3 of these, I think my son might enjoy. So it's nice to have them on my shelf for that reason as well, so that he can pick books out to read when he so desires. And then the next book is one that I've been wanting to read for a while, and that is The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And I didn't realize that this was sort of like a coming of age story. So that got me really excited when I was reading the back of it. So The House on Mango Street is sometimes heartbreaking, sometimes deeply joyous. It tells the story of Esperanza Cordero, whose neighborhood is one of harsh realities and harsh beauty. Esperanza doesn't want to belong, not to her rundown neighborhood and not to the low expectations the world has for her. Esperanza's story is that of a young girl coming into her power and inventing for herself what she will become. So I am excited to read this one. And the next book is one that I was so excited to find because it is the sequel to a book that I absolutely loved, and that is Daughter of Molokai by Alan Brennert. And this is the sequel to Molokai, which I have on my shelf, and I have read that, and Honolulu by Alan Brennert, and absolutely love them both, and I'm so excited to have this one. So in this, we follow Ruth. As an infant, she is taken from her mother, Rachel, who's quarantined in the leprosy settlement, and then Ruth is adopted by a Japanese couple who moved to California and raised her on a strawberry farm. And then during World War II, her world is turned upside down as she and her family face internment. And then after the war, Ruth gets an unexpected letter, and the signature at the bottom is from her mother, it looks like. So this sounds like it's going to be another winner by Alan Brennert, so I'm very, very excited to have this one. And that is it. Those are all the books that I got from the library and from the library bookstore. I hope you enjoyed going on a little tour of my library and coming along with me as I look for books. This was really fun to do. I think I'm getting a little bit better at my vlogging skills. I felt a little less shaky than I did when I did my little free library tour. So hopefully slowly improving. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Have you read any of these books? Can you recommend a good starting place, especially for the books I checked out from the library? Because of course they have to go back to the library at some point. So where should I start with those? And yes, any other thoughts you might have about libraries, books, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate you being here. If you could give this video a like, hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye.